One Piece has a pretty infamous issue when it comes to deaths. Fans have joked that the only way a character can die is if they a temporary ally or an enemy who loses their head clean off. So what's with all are the stakes just low, or is there a real reason behind it? In part 2 of this series, we'll take a look at some of the most egregious examples of deaths, the various revivals, and the real deaths that actually stuck. And don't worry, major spoilers ahead. Let's get it. Part 1. The most infamous survivors. It's hard to talk about One Piece deaths without mentioning these 3. First up, we've got Pell from Alabasta, who after protecting Vivi and the others from Asandai Katan, decided to stay behind when the city was being destroyed. He tanked a direct hit from a bomb that could bust an entire city, because apparently falcons are built different. Next, there's Pagaya from Skypiea, who got struck by divine lightning after taking damage from any. Some people say this is a legit way to die, but honestly, he's just really crispy. Finally, we've got Kinman from Wano, who was beheaded by Kaido in front of everyone, but 50 chapters later, he was revealed to be perfectly fine. I guess being turned into an onion really works out for you sometimes. Part 2. The dead Psych trend. Now let's look at some other famous fake-out moments. Before Marineford, Oda actually teased Ace's death in ASBs to hype up the arc, even though he wasn't planning to kill him off just yet. This was also the case with Saul from Ohara, who seemingly died in the Buster Call until Egghead confirmed he's alive and well. Then we've got Pound from WCI, who sacrificed himself to help Sanji escape, only to show up 200 chapters later partying with the worst generation. Now, you could argue that he didn't really die, since Big Mom resurrected him due to her homie, but that applies to a lot of these moments. Basically, if a character comes back too soon after dying, fans will lose faith in the story. Which brings us to the question, why doesn't Oda just kill off characters that are clearly gonna come back? Well, it's partly because of shonen tradition. One Piece has always been about hope, not grimdark tragedy. Even in the darkest moments, there's always a reason to keep going. Also, keeping characters alive gives Oda flexibility with his narrative. It means he can bring back fan favorites like Crocodile or Lucci without having to do complex Lastly, it makes the rare death moments hit harder. When Ace finally died, it felt like a punch to the gut. If he had survived Marineford, his death at the hands of Blackbeard would have been less impactful. Now, you might be wondering why so many characters came back after and the answer is simple. Plot armor. After Ace's death, it was clear that Oda couldn't just bring him back. So instead, he made sure everyone else lived. That's why we saw a ton of revivals after that arc. Part 3, the real deaths that actually stuck. Despite the many fake-outs, One Piece does have its share of impactful deaths. Ace and Waita Beard at Marineford, Yasui and Ashura Doji at Wano, Hirilak and Belemar in the early arcs, and Corazon and Pedro, whose sacrifices will never be forgotten. These moments hit hard because they happened to characters we cared about and they served the story. Pedro's death allowed Jack to escape with the Poneglyph, setting up the Wano arc beautifully. Meanwhile, Corazon's sacrifice gave us Law's backstory and cemented Doflamingo as the main antagonist of Dress. The thing with deaths in One Piece is that they usually happen to characters that we do not very well. However, when they happen to our favorite characters, we feel their loss deeply. Take Ace, for example. His death was a turning point not only for Luffy but for the entire story. It marked the end of the second half of the first saga and set the stage for the events that transpired in the New World. Similarly, the death of Haim, a minor character, left an impact because it humanized the cruel world of One Piece. Her sacrifice highlighted the harsh realities that many characters face and made us care about the Straw Hats even more. The same can be said for the death of Shirahige, whose demise added depth to the story and made us appreciate the strength of the bonds between the crew members. Overall, while there are plenty of deaths that didn't stick in One Piece, the ones that did had a significant impact on the story and its characters, leaving a lasting impression on fans. Thanks for watching. What are your thoughts on deaths in One Piece? Comment below. See you later.